Hey, welcome to the Tokusatsu desk. Kamen Rider is a hero everyone in Japan knows. But did you know the thing that actually made him popular was a huge accident? In our last video, we talked about the context Kamen Rider was born into and how the character came together. Today, we're talking about the tragedy that hit right after and the incredible comeback that followed. This is the story of a journey that starts with the TV series premiere in 1971 and runs all the way to today. When the show first went on air, honestly, it wasn't popular enough to satisfy the network. That same month, a new show called Return of Ultraman launched too, and it was pulling a 23% rating. Kamen Rider, 8.1%. A young man named Hongo Takeru, who gave up being human through cyborg surgery and swore to fight for justice. That dark, brooding presence, that's the true origin point of Kamen Rider. But then, disaster struck. During filming, the actor playing Hongo, Fujioka Hiroshi, got into an accident while doing a motorcycle stunt. This is said to have happened during episode 10, the resurrected Cobra Otoko. Actually, if you look at the last scene where Hongo takes a curve on his bike, there's a weird moment where the shot kind of swells or distorts on the turn. That shot right there, I have a feeling that's the moment right before it happened. A compound fracture of the left femur. Fujioka's injury was serious. Obviously, filming couldn't continue as planned. But the broadcast schedule couldn't just stop either. So the staff scrambled and wrote a brand new script, fast. That became episode 11, Vampire Monster Geba Condor. In place of Hongo, a young man named Taki Kazuya shows up. He's Hongo's rival as a motorcycle racer, and he's also an FBI agent. At his own wedding, Shocker's evil hand reaches out to attack him, and just when things look grim, Kamen Rider shows up to save the day. Geba Condor is one of Shocker's strongest monsters. It's there to raise the stakes, sure, but it also delivers a pretty shocking beatdown on our hero. Kamen Rider literally gets thrown, face plants into the dirt, and you just see his legs sticking out, like something out of a cartoon. Kamen Rider saves Taki and disappears. But Hongo barely appears in this episode. I mean, the actor himself was literally in a hospital bed. In the final scene, Hongo rides off alone on his bike, renewing his resolve to fight Shocker. Basically, it's recycled footage from earlier shoots. By putting Taki Kazuya front and center, the show barely survived. And that turned out to be a huge turning point for the whole series. The actor who played Taki, Chiba Shiro, was actually the younger brother of Chiba Shinichi, the world-famous karate action star. At the time, Chiba Shiro was a rookie member of the newly founded Japan Action Club, JAC, which his brother had started. Taki Kazuya carried the show through a stretch with no lead actor, a genuine save. Afterward, he became a full-time regular character supporting the story going forward. With Hongo out of the picture, the show kept Kamen Rider's heroics alive by moving Taki and the heroine, Midorikawa Ruriko, around instead. The plan was keep the show running this way until it found its footing. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, the staff kept debating what to do next. Kids still weren't that into the show yet, but at least production was finally stabilizing. After all that hard work to get the show this far, there was no way they were going to let it die now. After a lot of internal debate, the staff made a big gamble. They decided Hongo would head to Europe, chasing down a new Shocker scheme, and they'd bring in a completely new main character. Essentially restart the show as a new series.
Enter the new Kamen Rider, Ichimonji Hayato. This turned out to be the turning point that eventually made Kamen Rider a franchise lasting over 50 years. Let's go back to episode 13. The preview at the end of that episode was incredible. It announced, starting next week, a new Kamen Rider series begins. And on screen, Ichimonji Hayato, played by actor Sasaki Tsuyoshi. Sasaki was already a familiar face to kids. He played Kazamatsuri Ukyo, the rival character in the sports drama Judo Ichokusen, which was actually one of the shows that inspired Kamen Rider in the first place. Apparently, someone else is going to become Kamen Rider. Sure, kids were probably a little confused, but honestly, the details didn't really matter to them. What mattered was that gleaming silver on the forehead and the Crusher mask that just looked cool. That's how kids' minds work. Looking back at it from the audience's perspective at the time, it probably felt like, okay, the Kamen Rider prologue is over. Now the real show begins. And so it kicks off. Episode 14, the invasion of cactus monster Saboteguron. The whole mood of the show shifts here too. It opens with Tachibana Tobe, the restaurant owner who supported Hongo, opening up the Tachibana Racing Club. There's a lively, upbeat vibe now, with young girls showing up wanting to join the club. These girls become the mascot-like element that brightens up this new era of Kamen Rider. The new rider, Ichimonji, first shows up wearing sunglasses, looking a bit shady. But once he joins the Tachibana Racing Club, he comes across as upbeat and cheerful, nothing like Hongo's heaviness. That same year, Return of Ultraman was airing too, and its hero, Go Hideki, was also a stylish young man of the 70s, but fundamentally he was serious and polite, just like Hongo, a model student type character kids could look up to. Ichimonji was different. Normally cheerful, light-tongued, kind of a smooth talker, cracks jokes even in a crisis. Big laughs, expressive scowls, total range of emotion, like the cool older brother next door. And here's the thing, Hongo was the caught up in it type, fighting Shocker out of personal feeling. Ichimonji introduces himself completely differently. Shocker's enemy, humanity's ally. In place of Hongo Takeshi, I protect Japan. Kamen Rider. Watch closely. Henshin. That's the total opposite of Hongo. Hongo was forced into being an outlaw by personal circumstance, and even while suffering and struggling, he decided to become a hero anyway. Ichimonji, cheerful, bright, seemingly a bit shallow, still declares himself humanity's ally when it counts. That too felt like a very modern image of a young man at the time. As a first grader back then, I thought it was so cool. As a kid, all that stuff about anguish and revenge, I didn't really get it, but Ichimonji made it simple and clear. Ichimonji Rider was basically the friendly neighborhood big brother declaring himself a hero.
Declaring himself a hero. And looking back now, I think it's actually really clever. Even someone as bright and clear-cut about being a hero as Ichimonji still ends every episode with that same grim expression, riding off alone on his motorcycle, exactly like Hongo. That hero's resolve closing shot became a fixed format for Kamen Rider going forward. That means Ichimonji is carrying the exact same weight Hongo carried. The tragedy of being a cyborg never fades. It's just that Ichimonji hides it most of the time. Hongo was alone, so it made sense for him to wear his emotions on his sleeve. He only had old man Tachibana around, so he could lean on him. But now there's Taki Kazuya, someone his own age. There are the girls too. Ichimonji, as a grown adult, is written as someone who hides his feelings. Actually, in episode 15, Ichimonji's inner monologue reveals how he became Kamen Rider in the first place. He was captured by Shocker specifically to be turned into a weapon against Kamen Rider. But Hongo rescued him before the brainwashing surgery could finish, and Ichimonji took up Hongo's cause instead. Just like Hongo, he's a tragic cyborg who can never go back to being human. So there is at least some grounding for his motivation. Once you know that backstory, this whole nihilistic contradiction becomes a genuinely great idea. The kids watching weren't dumb enough to just admire a happy-go-lucky older brother figure. Kids of the 70s were already exposed to more mature dramas and films, so they were pretty sharp. That's exactly why it worked. Normally cheerful and lighthearted, but when his anger flares, his eyes go sharp and he transforms into a hero. That duality in Ichimonji Hayato is precisely what made him feel like the hero we could trust. In the writing, Ichimonji became lighter and more fun, but the core, a man who swore to justice, never wavered. That balance is a testament to the staff's stubbornness and, honestly, their good sense. Also, once the show moved into the Ichimonji era and Taki Kazuya became a full regular, it completely changed the structure of the drama. Teaming up with an FBI agent meant the show could now tackle Shocker schemes on a bigger scale, not just whatever happened to be nearby. And as the episodes went on, it started to feel more and more like a buddy cop drama. The two of them form a team, hyping each other up as they head out to investigate. There's even an episode where they ride all the way to Osaka together on their bikes. They're genuinely close. If you want an old reference, think John and Punch, that kind of vibe. As a kid, it was exciting to watch. If this aired today, I bet it'd have shipping fans losing their minds. There are training arc episodes too. A tough new cyborg monster shows up, and Ichimonji trains with Taki and Tachibana to develop a new finishing move. That's when they finally got to bring in the sports drama element that had been part of the original pitch from the start. The kids who hang around the racing club, Goro and the Rider Girls, also start getting mixed up in cases and getting captured by Shocker. That becomes another built-in reason for Ichimonji to spring into action.
Even the ending narration starts saying things like, Ichimonji Hayato has reliable friends now. There's still that loneliness of being a cyborg underneath it all, but the sense of a hero escaping isolation comes through strong. The visual redesign was a hit too. To appeal more to kids, the once all-black mask got a silver accent, the leather suit was swapped for more flexible nylon material, and silver lines were added along the sides. Sure, you can tell the suit actor's fitting wasn't perfect, but on screen it had plenty of visual impact. The motorcycle changed too. The original Cyclone had a full racer-style fairing, but it was redesigned with minimal decoration to handle rough terrain better.
These days, people say the old-school Hongo era design, old number 1, is the ultimate look. And honestly, I don't disagree. But at that specific moment in time, to relaunch the drama, that shiny, dazzling color change contributed a lot. And there's one more thing added in the Ichimonji era that's now basically synonymous with Kamen Rider: the Henshin shout, followed by the transformation sequence. Originally, Kamen Rider's transformation was based on storing wind energy in the belt's windmill. In the Hongo era, he'd transform by jumping from somewhere high, or by revving up speed on his motorcycle to catch wind. No catchphrase, no pose. But Ichimonji introduced the now classic formula: shout Henshin, strike a transformation pose, leap high into the air, and catch the wind that way to transform. That's where kids found the fun in it. You could actually play Kamen Rider yourself. Strike the pose, yell Henshin, and for a second, you felt like Kamen Rider too. The toy company Popey caught on to that and released a toy transformation belt. It lit up with batteries and spun, and it became a massive hit, selling 3.8 million units. Every new element they added just kept working in their favor, and Kamen Rider's popularity took off in a way that felt almost miraculous. The ratings in April 1971 were 8.1%. By September, once Kamen Rider 2, played by Ichimonji, showed up, it jumped to 21.6%, closing in on Return of Ultraman. Then, by December that year, it hit its all-time peak rating of 26.6%, surpassing Return of Ultraman entirely and cementing its place as an unshakable hit. Around the end of that year, Fujioka Hiroshi, still hospitalized, started recovering. And as a New Year's gift for viewers, the show planned the double Rider arc. Fujioka's injury still hadn't fully healed, but he insisted on filming against doctor's orders. There's even a story that he was bleeding from his surgical scar during filming. The story? Hongo returns from Europe, chasing Shocker's top executive, Dr. Shinigami, and teams up with Ichimonji to fight side by side, spanning episodes 40 and 41 as a two-part story. It wasn't a handover after all. The hero had secretly been teaming up with someone the audience didn't even know about. Kids went wild over that dramatic reveal. It was the exact moment where Kamen Rider's family concept became crystal clear on screen. Framed alongside Talkie and the Rider Girls, it all makes a lot more sense once you see it through that lens of found family. By the way, today we call Hongo Takeru Kamen Rider 1 and Ichimonji Hayato Kamen Rider 2. But at this point in the story, the narration only introduced Hongo as Kamen Rider 1 for the first time. The term Kamen Rider 2-inch doesn't actually show up until the very final episode, episode 98. Up to that point, in the show itself, they just called each other Ichimonji and Hongo by name. For kids watching at the time, Hongo Rider and Ichimonji Rider probably felt way more natural as names. This double Rider crossover episode broke a 30% rating and remained the show's highest-rated episode all the way to the finale. Ichimonji Rider is the one who ended up defining the basic format that most tokusatsu heroes since have followed. Honestly, if that approach hadn't worked, and the show had just kept dragging on with the Hongo-only format, there's a real chance Kamen Rider would have ended up a short-lived flop. The Ichimonji Hayato arc was the show's savior. You could even call it the true original version of Kamen Rider. Younger generations who don't know this history, and nostalgic purists who insist the original Hongo-only series is the real Kamen Rider, both, honestly, are missing the point. Sure, old number 1 is a one-of-a-kind, undeniably cool hero design, but the true essence of Kamen Rider lives in the Ichimonji Hayato arc. Next time, Kamen Rider's popularity keeps climbing. Hongo makes his return, and we hand things off to the next generation, Kamen Rider 3. See you then.